When Jeff was 8 years old in 1967, both he and his father had witnessed a UFO sighting while living in Honesdale, Pennsylvania, near Scranton.
My dad and I were standing on the banks of the Lackawaxen River fishing, and at treetop level, it came across. It was smoking from the back. It had a circular shape. It had a bit of a bowl to the bottom.
Did you have any memory at all of when you sensed that nodule in your leg being put in?
That's the oddest part about it. The VA said, consistent with shrapnel, never been in battle. So I don't have any reason why that could be there.
But you do have experience with having a UFO sighting. Maybe that's the connection.
When the team has the alleged implant surgically removed and analyzed, to their surprise,
we actually detected radio frequency.
the team takes Jeff to Dr. Lear's medical examination room in Thousand Oaks, California, for pre-surgery testing on the alleged alien implant.
Look for some radioactivity, electromagnetic fields, and things of that nature. So come on right on in.
Very good.
Jeff Harvey noticed a foreign magnetic object in his leg 4 years ago.
When I noticed it, I thought, I'd really like to find out what the heck this is. So I talked to the doctors down at the VA. They said, oh, fatty cyst, don't worry about it, no big deal. And then for some reason, one day I thought, you know what? I wonder if it's metal. So I stuck a magnet on it, and it pulled right up out of the skin, and I said, all right, hold on. There's no fatty cyst that's magnetic.
Jeff, come on in.
Only after the object has been surgically removed can the team determine scientifically what this object is and its origin.
That's the main bone, and then here is your object.
The unknown object feels like a small pellet, slightly bigger than a BB, buried 3 to 4 millimeters under the skin of Jeff's upper right thigh.
Size-wise, this is something very similar to what we have seen before.
Jeff says he has no idea how the object entered his leg. He remembers no incident that might have somehow allowed metal to become lodged in his body. There is no scar anywhere near the implant.
Are the other ones you've removed as close to the skin as this one?
No, they're usually closer to the bone. Initially, it could have been deep, and then it worked its way superficially.
Before we go into surgery to remove the implant, we need to determine what this object really is. We need to do a few series of tests of magnetism and radio frequency.
This is a 250-pound magnet, and with that we have quite a bit of magnetic force here. If this object will react to a magnetic field, it should pull it closer to the skin. Is this the spot here, Jeff?
Right there.
Right here, okay. Yeah, it does stand out a little bit. See the skin?
Yeah, I can. You see, it's pulling out in just a small circular area, is that right?
Right.
How far out would you say that it's pulling out?
A good 1/8 of an inch.
Good 1/8 of an inch.
Now we're going to be testing for radioactivity, electromagnetic fields, and radio frequencies next.
Before we permanently remove this implant, we need to see if there's anything detectable going on. We do know that it's magnetic. Maybe it's giving off a radioactivity, maybe it's giving off a radio signal. We need to determine if it's just a piece of metal or it has some greater purpose.
This instrument is called a Gauss meter. That's for the detection of electromagnetic fields. Let's see what happens. Okay. That noise is a very strong electromagnetic field. Let's get a reading of 10 milligauss, which is extremely strong.
It's highly unusual for a tiny speck of metal to give off such a strong signal, unless it's connected to a power source.
I wasn't that curious up until just now when you got a reading on output.
Now the next instrument we use is a radio frequency detector. We have 2 ranges here that we can change from. One is the gigahertz range and the other is the megahertz range.
Dr. Lear is sweeping a wide range of possible radio frequencies, from the bottom of the megahertz range and continuing upward to the top of the gigahertz range. Megahertz is the wavelength used by television and FM radio stations. Gigahertz is much higher, used for microwave ovens and cell phones, among other applications.
It is emitting a radio frequency. It looks to be like about 59.125254 gigahertz. This is the megahertz range now, which is a 35.893, and this is megahertz.
The megahertz reading fell under a VHF band. The VHF band is used by satellite radio and terrestrial communication, which is used by the government as well as the consumers.
Well, I think we've learned something today, and we'll wait for tomorrow to have it in our hand.
The evidence that we were able to test was pretty interesting, actually. We came out with the reading of 10 milligauss and also a radio frequency of 35 megahertz and 59 gigahertz.
35 megahertz is VHF, and that's radio, FM radio, or television. Good chance there's a lot of background radiation around. It might have picked that up. But the other one, 59 gigahertz?
59 gigahertz.
That's extremely high frequency. Those are the radio frequencies that radio astronomers use to detect radio frequencies coming in from outer space.
Why would an object under someone's skin be generating that kind of frequency? One is that the thing is sending a signal at a frequency that does travel pretty far. Two is that it's kind of also a homing beacon.
These readings are not particularly magnitude-wise very powerful, so it could be just part of the ambient environment in space where you took your readings. It's basically it's pretty inconclusive until we can get that implant out and do some further testing.
So here we are, Jeff, at the surgical suite.
The systems are all ready. The surgical suite is ready to go, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we pull out.
Before the operation, the medical team extracts blood from Jeff, so the object can be stored in the same fluid it was once immersed in.
Okay, you're all set.
All right, thank you.
Actually, the first part, I want everyone to back up a little because I really have to find this thing.
Dr. John Matriciano, a general surgeon practicing in Thousand Oaks, California, is conducting the operation.
There we see it.
There we go.
Finally. Now I'm going to use the local anesthesia. And we're going right to the spot we marked before. So we're going here. So I'll make a little nick with the skin. So I can't feel this, so I am going to rely a little bit on the x-ray. So we'll back off a little bit. Okay, I think we begin to see something here. Okay. Yeah. So look at a little bit of a black dot going there.
Yep.
Make sure we're on the same spot. I'm going to grasp this if I can.
Looks like you're on it.
Looks like we're right on it. So.
Are you gripping it hard? Try not to damage it.
No, it's slippery. I've got it here. See it?
Yeah, it's definitely solid.
Dr. Matriciano is surprised to find that Jeff's tissue has attached itself to the object.
It looked like it was encapsulated in organic material that was actually attached to Jeff's body. So there was a little bit of a tugging to get it out there.
That's it.
Yep.
We got it. Hold that for a second. That's it.
The size was surprising of the object. It appeared more flat and roundish, and I was really surprised that something of that size was generating a signal outside of my body.
So it's in the serum.
Okay. I'm just curious to see what happens, like many are, now that it's out, what changes.
Yeah, the next step with this will be to get it to the lab to begin running our tests on it.
When the team has the implant analyzed,
There it is.
they discover something no one had ever expected.
It almost looks like a tiny meteorite.